Incredible. Greetings, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? We are going to take a look at some wind spinners today. As you guys can tell from the thumbnail, we're going to look at wind spinners and specifically using a small format printer or having to split your design up if you're doing wind spinners and whether or not it will actually work. What are your results? So I did some testing on it and we are going to explore that and take a look at the results. Okay. Let's see. Now, if you were on my live video earlier, don't say anything. However, how do you guys think that they will come out? Is there anyone who's watching? So go ahead, put it in the comment section. If you have tried doing the wind spinners with a small format printer. So if you have tried it and you have 8.5-inch white paper that you use, put in the comments and let us know how it came out for you. If you have not tried it, something that you have been interested in, let us know that in the comments as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and share this out and then we will get started. Okay, there we go. All right, just have to get this all shared out. Okay, there we go. All righty. Once again, hello, 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 everyone. Welcome in. There we go. All right, there we go. I am Shakia, the professor of HSINK365. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products that we are going to use today for this demonstration. We carry sublimation paper and sublimation ink. We also have pigment ink for other types of projects. And we also offer classes and resources on our website, shop.hsink365.com. Again, that is shop.hsink365.com. Be sure to head on over to the site and check out everything that we have to offer. I do live demos like this to showcase what you can and can't do with sublimation. Sometimes I'm working on orders and it's just seeing the process. And then there are a lot of times where I am doing straight up demos and experimenting, like I'm in the lab testing. Hopefully so that, I can find some results that it makes it a little bit easier for you. You won't have to go through as many blanks and kind of like feel like you're wasting them. For me, we are a learning institute over here, so we enjoy doing the tests that you guys don't have to. So I did some tests. I ended up ordering some wind spinners from Amazon. And I did some tests. So I have one more left and then one half of another one. So we are going to finish these off by running some tests, and you'll get to see me press them live so that you can actually see the results. I'm going to talk about some of the findings that I found in my experiment of testing it, whether it was, adding a pressing pillow, cleaning the wind spinners because there's like a little film. It seems like there's like a film on it. I'm also in this next one, I'm going to test a theory. I put a piece of tape in a very random area to see if it was actually somehow seeping through the paper and the adhesive part was picking, because according to the, like when I'm looking at them, that's what it looks like. It's like in the adhesive area. And I'm like, is that adhesive that's on there? Because I used masking tape. I did some with heat tape and I was still getting that. So I went through a lot of thorough testing as I went through this to find the results that I know to be true based off of my experiments. Now, that does not mean that you cannot do experimentation on your own. So if you want to test it out for yourself with the paper that you have, if you're not using Honestly Speaking sublimation paper, I encourage you guys to do that. And I did think about that too, with just using my brand of paper. And it may be that for this particular project, our standard 120 gram paper may not be ideal. I do have access to other paper that, that our vendors sent us and like just different ones. So I am going to test this out in this particular live video using a different brand, because if it's the case that it's not that it can't be done, but maybe our paper is not ideal for this particular project because of a couple variables, like there being holes and stuff in the wind spinner. I want you guys just to know that information, because if you have a desire to do them, I don't want you to feel limited, just trying to, be completely loyal to our paper. If you have to explore other papers to get the best results. So you may have a paper that's, hey, this is the best paper for me when it comes to shirts or MDF or tumblers, but for something else, like for other projects, I may have to use a different brand if the paper that I normally use doesn't really work well for that. So I'm okay with that if you have to have different papers for different things. At some point here, we will probably have paper that we recommend for different applications, okay? But like I said, we are going to go over these wind spinners, and I'm going to show you guys the results and things that I have found. So go ahead, give this video a thumbs up. If you're watching this live, click out of the live chat, click that X, go over to the main part of the video, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up so that you don't forget by the time we get to the end of this live broadcast, okay? So here are the wind spinners. I posted a question a few days ago, and I was like, y'all, I have no desire to do wind spinners. So why do I have so many of these? And some of you guys put down your guesses as to why. It was a lot of, like, oh, I'm going to give them away. It's like promo stuff. And I mean, I guess you can say it's kind of promo, and people thought it was promo because of the Professor Taught Me is on it. But this was the first one that I ended up doing because it had different colors on it. So I did a total of, I think this set came with 6. These are 10-inch wind spinners. I believe it came with 6 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that one is 6. So I do have one that I didn't do this side. So we're going to put a design that lets you know that both sides can be sublimated. You do want to be mindful with lifting it up and just moving it around because it is so hot. Because it has the openings in it, if you move it too fast, because it's still radiating heat, you will end up with the gas, the ink on the back, and it'll look kind of like faded out. So you can see on the back of this one, hold on, there we go, where some of that ink and that gas kind of migrated to the back because it moved and it was still hot and it's still gassing off. So let that definitely cool, or have a heat glove where you can immediately pick it up and then put it on a clean surface so that you don't, you end up with a nice clean back. Especially if you're not going to put like a full on design back there. Okay. But I started out with, whoa, My phone almost fell. So this is what I started out with, and in doing it, so I did it where it was split. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I did this in Silhouette Studio where I basically split it in half and then you tape it. I did this as a traditional tape where I put tape across the back because whenever I'm doing large format prints or oversized prints that are bigger than my printer and I piece them together, I always tape the seams, right? So I did that with this one. I taped the seams, and when I taped it, so I got to find, because I was playing around with this one, and so it's all bent. So, okay, you're going to see where the seam is, but there was, like I said, there was tape on this, and it seemed as if like, I don't know. So first it was a weird area. I didn't understand why it did what it did. So I'm going to just hold this up. All right. Okay, let's see. There we go. So the seam, you can see where it kind of blurred out right there. That is the seam. But around it was like this weird film. So you guys can see that, right? Let me know if you can see what I'm referring to as far as that like film or that weird line on the opposites. Like it's not on the seam. And then if you look right there in the head, it was another like weird little mark. Can you guys see that on camera? And that's also where you can see where the ink, the gas kind of blew out the back. So just be mindful of that. All right. So yeah, someone said, okay, they can see that. So this was the very first one that I did. And so I end up, the next time I was like, oh, well, it doesn't have to be just using Care Bears. Let's brand this. So when I'm doing the test and stuff for this, so I end up making the design that we're going to use today. Because I already had that part set up. I was actually setting up for my print on demand class that's coming up in about 2 weeks with transfers. So I end up doing, putting this here and I end up pressing it. But I don't know what happened because it just went haywire. And I was like, well, there is a film, which you're going to see me pull off the brand new one. There is a film that goes over it. But the print on this, I was like, what's in the HE double hockey stick? So first, this is where, of course, look at that. You can see me through there. Peekaboo, I see you. But you can see right here, this is where the seam was. And it kind of pressed kind of weird. Like this looked extremely smooth, like in this area. And I'm not sure if because that's where the paper was doubled up at, but it gave it like, how everything else went down. And then that one was like super smooth and it was kind of like blurred out. So you can see that there. You can see that at the top. But there is that like weird, ooh, my fingers are horrible. You see at the top right there, you see like it's like these, I don't know, it's a weird, it's a weird texture. And then it was on the sides. So I was like, what the heck is that? It's almost like if it was like adhesive. And then of course the bottom just went berserk. Like it's just haywire. Okay. Okay. So this was test number 2. All right. So then I am one where when it comes to testing, you have to start to change variables. So that one, actually, first I thought, well, that has to be a fluke in like how it came out. Let me just do it again. Maybe my heat press was off or like it just didn't fully submit. I didn't understand what was going on with that one. So I did it again, and this happened. So it wasn't like all over. It was just in this section that it did that weird thing. And then of course, well, like majorly, but then of course on the seam, it was a little bit different. I got like that smooth out area on the opposite side this time than I did the first time. So it's right there. Not too bad. I don't think it's going to pick up this time. That right at that M, it's kind of smooth on the opposite side than it was the last time. Okay. Yeah, it's like it's blistering. So I was like, okay, well, let me wipe it down. So I ended up like on the other side, I wiped it down with alcohol, dried it. Okay. I still somewhat got like that. And I said, well, what can I do next? So this time I ended up with that like almost like adhesive mark right at the seam again. Okay. All right. And so I was like, well, dang it, what the heck? So I was like, well, let me test this as one solid print because I kept doing it with a split print. So my next test was to do it as just one solid, like printed to 11 by 17, just to make sure. That was me now testing. Okay, let's see if it's something with the paper itself. So I did that because we have to change a variable. So this is it with on 11 by 17 paper, so no splitting. And we did not get any of those like little marks or anything like that. There was no adhesive like looking marks. It came out really, really good. You know, see, there's no seam or nothing. This was all on 11 by 17 paper. So, okay, well, I know it's not HS ink paper that's causing some of these issues. So let's go back to doing the split image. So this time I wiped it down, but I also put it underneath the what's that thing called? The heat press. And kind of like once I did the alcohol, I put it under there and I'm like, well, maybe if I just like heat it up. I don't know. At that point, I'm like confused. I'm like trying some of everything. And I had also taken the tape off of this, I think, but I still like this time I got, you know, at the seam, you see that area. I was still getting that blistering. So I just could not figure out why is it that when it is solid paper, it comes out fine. But like this. So I said, well, maybe it's like moisture or something because it is a seam, like it's getting through there. Like, I don't know. I was going through all these scenarios, but then I realized I'm running out of these. So I can't just, you know, keep doing them because I only have technically 3 more presses left. So I have this one and then I have the one that still has the film on it. So I'm going to do, I couldn't remember if I took the tape off or not. So I'm going to do one regular, honestly speaking, sublimation papers are regular paper. There is no tape on the back. So I want to see if that eliminates it. But I did put tape over here because what I want to see is if that's going to bleed through and if it's going to give me like the adhesive look in that area. And then I also have, it's another, I guess you can say form, like this was another sample from another sample pack when we were researching our paper from our same, you know, company. It's just a different texture. It's a different type of paper. This one does require you to use a cover sheet on the back. So you are going to see me use a cover sheet. It still will sublimate, but I'm going to have a cover sheet on the back of this one because it bleeds through. One of the reasons why I never went with that particular formula for paper. The other thing that you're going to see me test in this particular live video is I've talked often about the fact that I'm not a huge fan of parchment paper, like letting that be like the really using it as like a barrier. Now, if it's something where it's just to kind of catch the ink, it's kind of raised up and things like that, like I'm not too worried about it. But I've used parchment paper like to go in between certain things before, and the gases go through it and it'll still end up like on the back. Not like with ours. This was like before I was doing 365 for 30 seconds. Now, I was worried about like the last one that I did. I said, okay, well, that little seam looks kind of weird. I said, well, maybe it's just not getting enough heat because it was kind of like blurry and it didn't seem like it was full on like sublimated. So I said, well, let me press it for longer to see if maybe it just needs more heat, more time to fully get like all the gases like in that area as well. So I put my foam pillow down. Well, I had my foam pillow down on some of the others, but I had this one. I had this pressing pillow. So I forget on one of them, I forget which one, I did use this pressing pillow because of all of the gaps in it. I figured maybe it needs help, like it needs to even out the pressure. So I used this one and it's still messed up. So then on the last one, I said, okay, well, let me grab a piece of foam, but this is the print that was on there. And then when I moved it away, it went through the back and was on here. And this is polyester, so it was attracted to it. That's why I kind of limit doing long presses with parchment, with a butcher paper. I prefer parchment paper. So when I do this next one, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put parchment paper over this. I'm going to let it go for 40 seconds, the same way I did before, to see if that ink goes through. And then that will be kind of a bonus demonstration as to like why you guys often hear me say I prefer parchment paper over butcher paper. Only thing is when I'm pressing out the line, I end up using my butcher paper because it's wider than the parchment paper. So those are a couple of the things that we are going to do in this session. Yes, all of the summer session seminars can be purchased as standalone classes. So just go over to the website, go to where it says seminars. And so the price on there for the seminar includes the box. So you're going to see a shipping for that one because we're going to ship out a box that has a lot of different transfers in it. That way you, and a shirt, that way you can press it to it, wash it, you can stretch it and really see the differences in all of these transfers. Okay. All right, let's see. We're at 365, 40 seconds. Like I said, I did change it. I'm going to do ours first. I'm going to use the pressing pillow. All right, let's see if I can. I forgot to move my camera. It's like sitting here, and the other ones I don't have in here. So you're going to kind of just have to look at it long distance. So because there is ink on this side, there is a piece of parchment paper down because it's not going to be enough heat on the back for it to go all the way through. So I do have the piece of butcher paper down there. I'm going to put the foam and then I'm going to put the parchment paper on top of that. Then we're going to take our wind spinner. I'm going to show you the other, I've already wiped this one down with alcohol. I actually already did a pre-press on this one, so I'm not going to do it this time, but you'll see me do it with the one that's like the new one. I always just rotate it just so I know like which side was which. So they're just opposite. Okay. I'm going to put my print down. Close that. And we're going to press that for 40 seconds. Now, while that's going, I'm going to peel the film off of this one. So these do come with a film on it. And it's kind of annoying to take off because if you're not very careful, you end up just doing like the one layer and then have to do a bunch of them. So try to get a little bit and then grab it through the middle to where you can pull it off of all of, see that one, I end up going around it. So I have to come back up. So this one's kind of annoying getting the film off. All right, so that's done. So I'm going to leave that there. Ooh, that came out horrible. I don't know what's going on with it. And then this is how the back looks. So this was when I did it with parchment paper. I mean, butcher paper. This is when I did it with parchment paper. It doesn't bleed through. So we have this here, but it's not bleeding through the back to get on here. And I did it for 40 seconds, the same way that I did this one, and it went through the butcher paper. Okay. Yeah, so see around, I don't know if it's just like because it's creating raised areas. So this is where the tape is. And around that area, it did this. And then here at the seam, it didn't fully tape. Okay. Where did my thing go? So I'm going to take off the other side. Oh, I forgot to do my print of the solid. Wait, do I have one? A full solid one? Hold on. Sorry. Okay, yeah, here it is. So again, I want to show pressing it without taping it and then with taping it. Has anyone else tried wind spinners? I see a few more people have gotten on. So I did ask that question earlier. Has anyone tried them, whether with a small format printer or a large format printer? Have you tried doing the wind spinners? So I'm just going to wipe this down with some alcohol. Make sure that there's no film or like there's nothing on it, because I'm not used to like wiping stuff down with alcohol. Like my tumblers and stuff, I normally don't. And so I know that it works on this like metal or stainless steel because we do the tumblers all the time. And we overlap and we don't really get these issues. But for this, I don't know, it's giving us these issues. I'm not sure if it's the openness of this, but I mean, you would think that if the openness was going to affect it, it would affect it even on the solid print, and it doesn't, like the single print and press. Okay, so I'm going to just pre-press this just for the heck of it. So I'm going to put the solid print on it first, and then I'm going to do the print that is not the official HSINK paper. No, so I mean, a couple of different places sell them, a couple of different vendors. I got these from Amazon. It was easy just to get it from Amazon. I'm not sure if Johnson's Plastics sells the wind spinners, but I know they got. I know Amazon does. That's where I got these from. All right. So we're going to close that. Now, hopefully that comes out. Again, I have no desire to do this. This was me just testing it out. I am not one that I really like. I feel like because I have a sublimation printer, I have to do every single blank that is out there. That definitely is not how I operate. I don't have an audience for it. I don't really see the purpose for them. So it's not something that I desire to do, but it was a question that was posed. So I'm doing it more so for teaching and experimenting purposes. I am going to let that cool a little bit to keep from moving it, and maybe getting ink on the back, which I think it might still happen because on the other one, it messed up like that. So yeah, doing this two-sided, like it's so many open spots to this that this kind of like, So here we go. All right. That's without piecing anything together. Whew. And this is how it came out. Okay, that's hot. That's still hot. So as just a single press, this is how it comes out. None of those weird marks on it or anything like that. So I'm not sure if taping it together, it just introduces some sort of air or moisture or whatever it is, but it don't like it. So now this is the last print, last wind spinner that I have. And I said, well, I need to be able to test to see is it an issue with simply taping it together no matter what? Or does it happen to be, honestly speaking, sublimation paper is not ideal for this particular project. And I'm okay with that. If it's just a matter of it not being ours, because if you desire to do it, I'd rather you be successful. Like if you have our brand of paper and you want to do these, I don't want you to go through 6 spinners before you realize, okay, well, it's the paper. And I'd rather you go now. I'm going to experiment with it. If it does work, hey, that just means that however this paper is, you will have to figure it out. Because this is again a sample pack. You're still going to have to go through some research and find out which paper is going to work better for you for the wind spinners. Okay. All right. Like I said, this particular one does require a cover sheet on the back. So I'm going to grab that. And put that on the back. So I will see. I've done a license plate. I don't think I've ever done it where I've split it, but I will do that because I have some here. Not in this video. I will create a design for it. Same, the professor taught me on a license plate and do the split and see how that comes out. And that will also let us know if it's a matter of the openings or does it do that with anything when it's metal and you're going to split it. I have the heat barrier, so I'm going to let it go for just a few more seconds. And by heat barrier, I mean that there's another piece of parchment paper on top. Yeesh. So maybe I should have gone a little bit longer with this. Definitely is not honestly speaking paper. So it does bleed through the back. And then it's a lot of ink left on there. This is why one of the reasons why I didn't really care for this paper when they gave it to us to try out. I don't see the blisters on it, but I don't have another one now to test it. I don't have another one to now test if I did it for a longer period of time, because I'm sorry. Yes, I don't know where my heat glove is. I'm ghetto right now. I'm using a sock. So I don't see the blistering, right? However, on the seam, it still did the same thing where it's like a blurred or like smoothed out type situation. And of course, this paper, that particular one, does not sublimate at 365 in 30 seconds. And I even let it go for a little bit longer. It looks different on camera, but I will hold up one of the other ones as a comparison. So you can see the difference in the saturation of color. And in, see how that it did this weird. So maybe 400 degrees, that paper maybe would have released, and maybe that would be better. So if you have a paper and you're able to try it at 400 degrees, my heat press never goes to 400 anymore. Maybe that will work, or maybe go like to 395, 390, like 50 seconds or something like that. It will give you better results. But this is how our paper produces in 365, 30 seconds. And then this is technically just like a different brand. Might as well say a different brand of paper. It's a different makeup. So big difference. But you can see here where that seam was and where it still did that like weird, I don't call it halo, but like you can see the line and it's blurred out or flattened on one side and then it's like that. So yeah, for me, I think that if you want to do these, it is best. Like, this is a project that's reserved for a full print. If you don't have a large format printer, but you desire to do these, guys, it is okay. I promise you, it is okay to outsource your prints. I'm pretty sure there's someone near you, if you don't want to pay for shipping, that might have a large format printer. You just got to be open to talk to people, especially if you're spending all your time in these Facebook groups and things like that. Get to know people. There's probably somewhere near you. They have a large format printer. When you have that order, it's probably going to be far and few in between if you doing these. If you're doing a lot of them, or you know that it's gonna be big for you, then it will be best to invest in a large format printer. But if you can't, it's okay to outsource the prints, guys. It is okay. It's better to just outsource the prints and get a better result versus trying to do, quote unquote, a hack with splitting it. I am one where I truly feel like, well, I'm not gonna say that because I've done like with fabric, it's a little bit different, especially with like blankets and towels when you are piecing it together. But for something like this, you know, if it's not meant for you to kind of do something like this, it's just not kind of worth it to me. I think fabric items are totally different. But my final thoughts on this is have a large format print, wide format print, however you want to say it, that's going to cover the whole thing. That's where you're going to get your best results at. Piecing it together is just a no bueno. It's just, yeah. 10 out of 10, I don't recommend. So yeah, even though you have a small format, if you have a desire to do them, outsource the prints. We have that service, but of course, shipping it, the least expensive, like, you know, if you're doing like first class, which I guess is called something else now with USPS, you have to pay for that. You still have to pay for the insurance on it because we don't send anything out without insurance. Or if we do send it out, you don't want to pay the $2 for insurance. If it gets lost, we are not held liable. You are basically, you are voiding, coming after us for that, because first class mail does not come with any insurance. But you would end up paying about $8. If you needed one print, you would literally pay $8 in shipping for that one print. We don't control that. Up to a certain number of ounces, that's the minimum price on it if you're doing priority mail. But if you find someone that's close to you, you're able to get it and not have to pay shipping. But I do recommend finding those who can print these out for you closer to you as one print versus taping them together. All right. So that's that. The next video, not in this one, that we're going to do is we're going to talk about copy paper versus sublimation paper. So be sure to come back for that one. After lunchtime, I'm going to go get something to eat, and then I will do that particular video. If you have not tried out our paper, go ahead, head over to the website and try out Honestly SpINKing sublimation paper. I mean, just in this one alone, like, if nothing else, I'm definitely going to post this as content. I mean, that's just a stark difference. Even with this one being messed up, like, that is a stark difference in Honestly SpINKing paper and then a different brand. Essentially, it's a different brand. Very, very big difference. Even with the imperfections on this, the colors, they don't compare. Like, you cannot deny that this is a much better result than this. All right. All right. So visit shop.hsink365.com for your Honestly SpINKing sublimation products and our classes. Okay. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.